How does it feel like you're in outer space and underwater at the same time? Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I'm going to be listening to the album Morning View by Incubus. Now, so far in my journey through Incubus's discography, I've only heard their second studio album Science and their third studio album Make Yourself, both of which I absolutely loved, and I'm really looking forward to hearing their fourth album now, Morning View, that they released in 2001, and yeah, just see what I'm going to think of it. Alright, starting off this album is track 1, which is called Nice to Know You. I love this tone. It's kind of like bouncing back and forth in my headphones.
Better than watching color bending silver spoons gives you wings. I haven't felt the way.
That was nice how he said gives you wings, and then immediately this song took on such an amazing, smooth, kind of ethereal tone.
Nice to know you. Goodbye. Deeper than the deepest Cousteau would ever go.
All of these effects that they're using are giving this song this really amazing sort of enveloped feeling, kind of like you're underwater. There's this sort of like muffled quality that it has.
How much this feels like a waking limb. Goodbye. Nice to know you.
Interesting contrast between this acoustic tone and then that like DJ sound effect that they're using, like the turntable.
Been so long, it's hard for me to specify. Nice to know you. Goodbye. Nice to know you.
That was track 1, Nice to Know You. I was really enjoying how they were taking that one from the kind of smooth, sort of ethereal toned verses, and then they would bring so much punchiness, more of an aggressive edge on the chorus. It's kind of like it just burst open with sound almost. All of the effects too that they were doing were really fun. They kind of added all of these extra layers to that track, and like I said, it sort of had this watery quality to it. Up next is track 2 called Circles. Okay, he just mentioned treading water. I mentioned that last track. It kind of had a watery feeling to it. How it just smooths out all of a sudden. I love that. I love the tuning of these guitars. They've got such an interesting tone. A very energetic end to that one, but that was track 2, Circles. A really amazing fluidity to that one, even though it was going back and forth between these more pulled in subtle moments and then they would bring that bang of energy all of a sudden. It flowed so seamlessly between those two elements. The flute that they threw into kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. Again, they're kind of fusing on these gentle, more melodic tones, and then they're also throwing on these really fun, more playful upbeat sounds too, and just kind of blending it all together. Alright, up next is track 3 called Wish You Were Here.
I dig my toes into the sand.
I love this percussion. It has such an immensity to it. There's something about this track, it feels like a blanket almost covering you. There's something very comforting about it almost. Is that the guitar, that squeaky sound I'm hearing? That was track 3, Wish You Were Here. An amazing softness to that one with the addition of the acoustic guitar at times. I loved the backup singers on the chorus too. They were adding a sort of cushiony feeling almost to the vocals on that track. Something very soft and comforting about its delivery, even though they were still fusing on some really fun things from time to time. But moving on to track 4 is Just a Phase. Man, this violin is unexpected. It's adding this amazing richness to this song.
I am bottled, fizzy water.
This song has an amazing tone to it. It's like a pool of very still water that you're looking into. Like it's so clear you can see your reflection perfectly in it, and you're kind of sinking into it almost. Okay, that was fun. I was expecting them to bring a punch of energy all of a sudden, and they did the opposite.
Opinionated, maybe biased, and quite possibly jaded. Yeah, it's just a phase, and I'm waiting.
There's something almost My Bloody Valentine-esque about these guitars all of a sudden. That was track 4, Just a Phase. Such a fascinating song. I would say to start off with, those violins at the beginning and kind of sprinkled in throughout that track were very surprising. They were giving it this amazing sort of melodic texture. And that song, for being as pretty pulled in and minimal as it was throughout most of its runtime, there was a lot going on, just a fusion of so many different sounds. All right, moving on to track 5 is 11 a.m. I just picked up on that violin again.
7 a.m. But I missed the best part. Could we please go back to the start? Then again, man, when I want a better out.
I love the tone of this bass. There's something almost muted about it a little bit. Again, a sort of muffled quality.
12 p.m. and my dusty telephone rings.
Yeah, there's a second vocalist on this song too, like now with the humming. That was track 5, 11 a.m. Really great lyricism on that track. Incubus always has a fantastic way of painting a picture in my mind when I listen to their songs. That track had this amazing gentleness. Yet again, they were infusing on that acoustic guitar a little bit. I loved the violin too. That was still shining through. And I think the bass was my favorite part. Just the tone of that was so relaxing. I felt like I was kind of sinking into that song. But continuing on with track 6 is Blood on the Ground. Great vocal delivery right there.
Hand over my heart, I
This sound to me right here is just telltale Incubus. I don't know what that is, if it's like the way they've tuned the guitar or if it's like synthesizer type noise.
I'm earning the right to my silence in quiet discerning between ego and timing. Seeing you is like pulling teeth, and hearing your voice is like doing
Great percussion right there. Those drums just bringing almost this metallic intensity to their sound.
a better judgment. Silent roar.
The very end of that just there reminded me of the track Head Up by Deftones, that guitar tone. But that was track 6, Blood on the Ground. Definitely bring in a little bit more punchiness with that one. It just had a surge of energy to it. And there was a great flow to that one too. It almost had this very loose, relaxed sort of hip hop style to it. Like the beat and everything that they were implementing was really cool. It gave that track a sort of punchiness, and yet there was still this really elasticy quality to its tone as well. All right, up next is track 7, which is called Mexico.
You could see me reaching on the first train to Mexico.
There's almost a somberness to this song, the tone of it.
You just turned your nose up in the air.
There's an amazing sort of drawn out quality to this track, almost a languidness a bit, even with the vocal delivery, like some of the words, it's almost like he's stretching them out a little bit.
The first train to Mexico.
Was that a train whistle I just heard? That was track 7, Mexico. A surprisingly minimalistic track. There wasn't any percussion on that one. It was just that acoustic guitar and his vocals, and then at times that violin would be infused as well. And that track was so gentle and sort of relaxing, but there was this hint of almost animosity to it. I don't know if that makes sense. It just had this very, very slight sort of tension to it, even though it was very pulled in and very relaxed with its sound. But moving on to track 8 is Warning.
Bet your eyes, girl, be otherworldly.
I loved the vocals just there with that harmonizing going on.
Pass you by. I suggest we learn to love. She woke in the morning.
There's a lot of layers to this track. It's like they keep painting on this canvas and it's just becoming more and more rich and colorful with each measure.
Pass you by. We all float face down.
Yeah, now you've got these kind of melodic tones being played. Is that a piano?
And she called out a warning,
That was track 8, Warning. One of my favorites on this album so far, I think. Just all of the sounds they were utilizing were so fascinating. I was really riveted by that track. That piano tone was adding a really cool melodicness to it, and they were fusing on a lot of those more electronic style things as well. I loved what they were doing with the vocals too, some harmonizing and kind of layering up with multiple vocals going on. It kind of added this really lush quality to that track, just very nuanced and layered with its sound. Moving on to track 9 is Echo.
There's something about the look in your eyes.
I like that percussive element they're using.
show me, dear, finally interesting.
There's something so velvety about this song. It's like butter.
Something about the way you move. Your biggest fear will be the rescue of you.
Yeah, everything is perfectly balanced on this track. That percussion kind of has this sharper, more staccato quality to it, which is contrasting with the smooth guitar and vocals, but it works really well. That was track 9, Echo. Beautiful track, so rich and deep with its tone. I loved how they were still utilizing these little sound effects from time to time. Like at the end there, it almost sounded like some sort of futuristic warp effect they were using. They're adding so much variety to this album without detracting from like the feeling that that song gave you, that more relaxed, gentle quality. But I'm going to move on to track 10, which is called Have You Ever?
Get up and walk away. Won't be too easy.
Very bass heavy right off the bat, which I love.
Have you ever tried to penetrate me quite as often as they say?
Okay, they're changing it up a bit here. It's like all of that energy kind of just dissipated all of a sudden. And now you're left in this really floaty atmosphere they've created.
Have you ever tried to quite as often as they say?
That was track 10, Have You Ever? Quite a contrast from that last one, Echo, which was very gentle and relaxed, and then Have You Ever kind of came in, tearing through this album with so much force. My favorite part was when you had that chorus going on, and then all of a sudden it just dissipated. It's like they turned it off and it transformed the track into this really ethereal sounding tone. Just such a contrast. I loved that change up though. All right, moving on to track 11 is Are You In? Okay, that was a great start to this song. Now we got this kind of grooviness going on. The ambience of the people talking just there kind of reminded me of the Sweater Song by Weezer a tiny little bit. How that one has that same sort of ambient tone.
Are you in? Are you in? It's so much better.
Okay, now we've got some clapping going on. This song has such a loose relaxedness to it. Almost a jazzy quality too with that bass. Yeah, they're layering up all of these vocals really, really well. It's like gradually adding on all of this energy, and yet it hasn't lost that really laid back quality too. That was track 11, Are You In? I loved the effect they were doing where it sounded almost like an engine starting up, and it was almost like the song started to accelerate a little bit. The bass on that track too was really shining through. It had this sort of jazzy improvised feel to it, just sort of laid back, very relaxed, almost casual with its sound, which I really enjoyed. But I'm going to move on to track 12 called Under My Umbrella. How does doesn't feel like you're in outer space and underwater at the same time. It's really cool. It's like this futuristic, beachy element to their music.
These eyes are not so right. Those eyes of yours decided to say. Will close my eyes.
This song is really different in how these vocals have a little bit of distortion on them, kind of a fuzziness. And throughout the rest of this album, his voice has been so clear.
If this is right, I'd rather be blind.
It's like you just dove underwater all of a sudden. That was such a cool transition.
These eyes are not so right. If this is right, I'd rather be blind.
That was track 12, Under My Umbrella. Again, bringing more punchiness to it. That one definitely had more of a like rock edge to its sound, more aggression. I absolutely loved all of the effects though that they were doing. So much fun. And his vocals too, like I said, with that distorted quality, it really stood out because on the rest of this album, they haven't really utilized any sort of vocal distortion like that. Moving on to the final song on Morning View is track 13 called Aqueous Transmission.
I'm floating down a river.
That was an interesting vocal delivery, how he said the word river like that.
Floating down a river named Emotion. Been reveling the view. Further down the river.
This song really does have a beautiful meandering quality to it. Like its flow is so impeccable. There's no sharp transitions or anything. Again with the strings too on this track. They just add such a beautiful vibrancy to this album. All right, and now we just have this sound of frogs croaking. That was track 13, Aqueous Transmission. A really beautiful song to bring this album to a close. That one had such a relaxing element to it. I don't know what the instrument was that they were playing through most of that. It had this sort of twangy, almost banjo-like quality to it, but it was so beautiful. It kind of gave that song this element of like being in the woods or something. I don't know, more of an organic, natural feeling to its tone. Well, that is going to conclude my reaction to Morning View, the fourth studio album from Incubus. They really outdid themselves on this thing. I loved the textures and all of the effects and everything that they blended together on this record. Incubus always amazes me with how they have this sort of laid back, carefree, almost beachy quality, and yet they infuse so much aggression at times too, and they kind of go back and forth between those two elements so well in their music. I loved track 4, Just a Phase. That one was a little bit more slowed down, more on the melodic side, but I loved the use of the strings on that track. Just really beautiful. Also, track 8, Warning, might be my favorite on this record with one listen. All of the effects and everything that they were using were so creative. And track 11, Are You In? I also really enjoyed how kind of loose and relaxed that one was. It almost had more of a jazzy quality to it. But so much variety across this entire record. I loved listening to it, and definitely let me know in the comments which Incubus album I should do from this point. And yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.